Your wife, Jo, of course, was murdered almost a year ago now, Brendan, and I would imagine what Colin's describing there resonates with you and the experience of you and your family over the last year, particularly. How did you feel when you heard what had happened on Monday night?
I think as Colin was just saying then, I think in the sort of immediate aftermath of an event like that, you retreat into this sort of sense of shock and hollowness, and it's very hard to understand what has happened. And I think that will even, that will be even more the case with, an 8-year-old kid. I mean, it's just incredible and horrific. And when I heard about the Manchester bombing, I just felt lost. Just the scale of it and the supreme evil of it. And I think one of the things that is lost sometimes, we jump into talking about what next and what the implications are, completely understandable, but every single one of those lives, incredibly special, and taking enough time to really mourn them, to think about them as individuals. It's even harder when there's an attack on this scale, because it's very hard to tell the stories about all of those amazing individuals. But I think we have a duty to try and do that.
You have poured yourself into looking after your children and making sure they have the strength to deal with what they're dealing with, and also going out and reaching out to the country and trying to bring everybody together. Has that helped?
Certainly, I think without my kids, I would have really struggled. I mean, in some ways, that's the hardest bit, because the grief and the pain that they're going through is, the hardest bit of your own experience. But they're the reason to keep going, and they're still, kids are very resilient, and they go on and they still find joy from life, and that's incredibly important to me to watch. But also, in my case, I do think that there is a moment in our country at the moment where people feel that there is this this pressure, that there is this narrative about hatred, that there are events like this that tear us apart. And I always ask myself, what is it that the terrorists or the extremists, the people that kill innocent people, want us to do? And what they want us to do...
Angry.
Incredibly angry. But what they want us to do, what terrorists want us to do, is to fall apart, to blame each other, to turn on ourselves. And our response must always be to ask what terrorists want and then do exactly the opposite. So for me, trying to bring our country together again at moments like this, in order to defeat the terrorists and the extremists, feels like one of the most important things to do.
Can I just ask one more thing as well? Because undoubtedly there'll be friends and family, extended family, of these victims who will be desperate to help the parents and the brothers and sisters and the aunts and uncles who have lost their loved ones. What would be your advice for them in the best way that they can support those people that have lost family members? Yeah,
and I think it's very hard to overstate how important that friendship and family is. It's the thing that certainly got me through. And some of it is very practical. So some of it is, don't say, I'm here for you, I'll do anything you want, because you don't have any time to think about what you want, but just go and do stuff, whether that's taking their kids out, taking their dog for a walk, mowing their lawn, buying their groceries, cooking them food. Just do very practical things that just take the pressure off. Don't wait to be asked. And then some of it is obviously much more sort of emotional, in terms of just being there to listen to people, not passing judgment. Like, lots of things go through your head, and you have to make horrible choices about, things like, do the rest of the family see the body? Do your kids go and see the body? And just being there to help those people. And then I think just to hold people at those moments of supreme grief, sometimes that's all you can do, and sometimes that's the most important thing.
Really, really great advice, Brendan. Thank you for sharing that and joining us this morning. That's Brendan Cox.